Today we'll be discussing a few more MCQs on the Indian Contract Act. So the first question is, implied contract, even if not in writing or express words, is perfectly dash if all the conditions are satisfied. A. Void. B. Voidable. C. Valid. D. Illegal. So you can give your choices in the chat. Implied contract, even if not in writing or expressed word, is perfectly dash if all the conditions are satisfied. A. Void. B. Voidable. C. Valid. D. Invalid. Yes, the correct answer is option C, that is valid, because in implied contract generally is being analyzed or it can be done through the conduct of the parties. So it may not be in writing, it can be oral, or may not be having also words, right? So from non-verbal clues also we can enter into an implied contract. Example, if you just pick up a bus for moving for conveyance purpose, so it's just to conduct. This if you have planned that bus, you are just going for a journey, then it's implied that you will be paying for it, right? So the ticket conductor will ask for the ticket. If he doesn't ask, also you have to give. So it's a kind of an implied contract. So it's been done through action of the parties or conduct of the parties, and no verbal conversation happens mostly. It may happen, may not happen. So option C is correct, that implied contracts are valid. If all the essential elements of conditions of essential elements are satisfied in the case of an implied contract, maybe verbal, maybe non-verbal. When an offer is made to the world at large, when an offer is made to the world at large, it is dash offer, A. Counter offer, B. Special offer, C. General offer, D. None. So when an offer is made to the world at large, it is called A. Counter offer, B. Special offer, C. General offer, and D. None. Very simple. Offer made to the world at large. What is it called? A. Counter offer, B. Special offer, C. General offer, and D. None. Little bit sense is required, common sense. And answers can come out. Because you don't have to think of the answers. Answers are there in front of you. You should just mark your choice. The correct answer for here is option number C. It's a general offer because it's happening to the world at large. So if a government is coming from within job vacancy, so it's an offer at large, world at large, right? World means only the Indian citizens can apply for the Indian jobs, right? Indian government jobs. So it's an offer to the all, so it's a general offer. Like an initial public offer of a company, a prospectus is issued, so it's a general offer, right? In case of illegal agreement, the collateral transactions are A. Valid, B. Void, C. Voidable, D. None. In case of an illegal agreements, the collateral transactions are A. Valid, B. Void, C. Voidable, D. None. So in case of illegal agreements, the collateral transaction to the illegal agreements will also be considered as void. That is option B is correct. A contract is an agreement A made by parties who are competent to contract. B. Not enforceable by law. C. Enforceable at the option of the agreed party. And D. Made without free consent and consideration. A contract is an agreement. Options: A. Made by the parties who are competent to contract. B. Not enforceable by law. C. Enforceable at the option of the aggrieved party. And D. Made without free consent and consideration. So we're discussing about the essential elements of a valid contract through this question. Very important. So everyone should at least try to attempt it. I'm getting the correct answer. The correct answer for this question is option A. So what are the essential elements of a valid contract? Quickly in the chat. What are the essential elements of a valid contract? Whatever you know, type it out in the chat. In just next 10 seconds. We want the answers. Yes, I got one that is enforceable by law. Next, it should like a marathon, we should move fast. Okay, free consent. Agreement should have a free consent, not expressly void by law. Okay, next. So free consent means it doesn't have be influenced by coercion and influence, mistake, and obviously misrepresentation. Okay, legal object should be there. Next, there are so many legal considerations. Yes, lawful consideration, legal objects. Many important things you are missing. Fast. Everyone should at least know this question's answer. So we have essential elements of a valid contract. Okay, two parties should be required. And this question, the first option A, people have made the choice of option A. So that is also essential elements of a valid contract. What was that? What was that? This question you gave the correct answer. Two parties are required. The party should be competent to have a capacity to make a contract, a valid contract. So few of them are obviously debarred, like a lunatic. Yeah, proper offer should be there. Acceptance should also come from the opposite party. Yes, offer acceptance, fine. So we can again revise. Offer acceptance should be there. Two parties, at least two parties are required for competent to contract. So you check the validity, check that whether they are competent enough to make a contract which is valid, enter into a valid contract. Few parties are excluded, right? Like minor and lunatic. Legal consideration should be there, lawful object should be there, so it cannot be illegal. Free consent of both the parties, so we can say consensus are the term, right? So meeting of the two minds at the same place, and also they are also considering and understanding the same terms, whatever the contract specifies. Okay, not expressly declared by void. So few things are prohibited, it cannot be done. Contracts are enforceable by law, right? So these are the essential elements of a valid contract. Fine, and if you have missed anything, you can say, okay, capabilities of parties, I got it. Fine. So we have almost covered everything, right? And one more thing, possibility to execute the task. It should not be that only that kind of impossible kind of a task is given. So possibility of performance is also important to have a valid contract. So hopefully we have discussed all the essential elements of valid contract. So good revision, good going everyone. Now next question. Under the Contract Act, the enforceability act of law of an agreement requires A. Lawful agreement, B. Lawful consideration, C. Free consent of the parties to the agreement, and D. All of these. Answer should come in just 1 second for this. We have just revised. Under Contract Act, enforceability of law requires A. Lawful agreement, lawful consideration, free consent, all of these. Yeah, I'm getting it all the correct answers. So here the Contract Act, enforceability of law. So agreement requires what? Agreement requires lawful consideration. Yes, we discussed. It should be lawful agreement, cannot be illegal object, cannot be illegal. Free consent of parties required, and obviously all of these are required to make a valid contract so that it can be enforceable by law. So option D is correct. An offer is made with an intention to have negotiation from other party. An offer is made with an intention to have negotiation from another party, from other party. Options, this is an offer, this type of offer is called what? A, invitation to offer, B, valid offer, C, voidable offer, and D, none. Offer is made with an intention to have a negotiation from other party is called A, invitation to offer, B, valid offer, C, voidable offer, and D, none. So obviously when an intention is there, where it is the negotiation is possible between the parties, it is an invitation to offer, right? So obviously first the invite will be given, then it will be considered by the opposite party, and if accepted, then they will negotiate the terms of the agreement so that they can make a valid agreement or a valid contract and they can move ahead. So option A is correct, and I've got all the correct answers. So good going. Law Book Company made an offer to sell a new book released recently only to the members of the Bar Council. This offer is called A, general offer, B, specific offer, C, implied offer, or D, invitation to offer. So obviously, if a law book company is making an offer to sell a new book release only to the specific people, that is only to the members of the Bar Council, then this offer is called a specific offer. Option B is correct. Dash is good in substance but suffers from some technical defects like absence in writing, barred by limitation, etc. So this is A, valid contract, B, voidable contract, C, illegal contract, D, unenforceable contract. Dash is good in substance but suffers from some technical defect like absence in writing, barred by limitation, etc. So some technical defect is there. A, it is a valid contract, B, voidable, C, legal, D, unenforceable. Yes, I'm getting the correct answer that it is a unenforceable contract because unenforceable contract option D is correct because unenforceable contract is good in substance but suffers from some technical defect like it is not in writing, or if it is in writing then it is barred by limitation. So we have a limitation act specific different limitation act is there where some acts need to be done within certain time. And if it is the time is out, then it is out of the purview and now it cannot be enforced. So Limitation Act has specifically defined which over what kind of a task, how much time you can do, is allowed to work on it. So it's debarred by limitation, maybe. So these are all unenforceable contracts. Though they are good in substance, but cannot be enforced because of the technical defects which they have. So option B is correct. There is no binding contract in case of dash, as one's offer cannot be constructed as acceptance. A, cross offer, B, standing offer, C, counter offer, and D, special offer. There is no binding contract in case of dash, as one's offer cannot be constructed as acceptance. No binding contract in case of A, cross offer, B, standing offer, C, counter offer, and D, special offer. So there is no binding contract in case of dash, as one's offer cannot be constructed as acceptance. Now I am getting a variety of answers C, D. Some are going with counter offer, some are going with special offer, but no one are considering first two options. The correct answer for this Question is A, cross offer. There's a difference between cross offer and counter. So let's understand there is no binding contract in case of cross offer, as one's offer cannot be constructed as an acceptance. Two parties are making offer to each other and they are crossing. Means the offer is, I would say, there's a contradiction happens. One party has given the offer, another party also gives same kind of offer, but little bit modification is there. So they are making a cross offer kind of a thing. So here, no kind of a binding contract can be formed because the opposite party, the promisor becomes promisee, promisee becomes promisor. So in these cases, they are giving their offers each other. The offer gets crossed because the same kind of thing they are telling, and also little bit modifications are there. So that is a cross offer, but the counter offer is little different. In case of counter offer, one party is telling that I will give you, suppose, rice, and another party says that I agree to buy rice from you, but I want that you also take my milk from me. Then I'll take the rice from you. So this is a kind of a counter offer, and which is valid, which can have a binding contract if agreed by both the parties. But crossover, no kind of a binding contract can be formed because the offer itself becomes nullified because one person's acceptance cannot be taken as one person's offer again. So it becomes like that. Some contradiction happens in case of crossover. So crossover doesn't create any binding contract between the parties. So now hopefully the people have understood the difference between the cross and the counter. So here there is no binding contract, so our option A is correct, that is cross offer and not the counter offer which the maximum crowd was doing. An advertisement for sale of an old flat is published in a leading newspaper. The kind of offer is A, special offer, B, continuing offer, C, open offer, D, general offer. Advertisement for sale of an old flat is published in a leading newspaper. Which kind of offer it is? A, special, B, continuing, C, open, D, general. So it's obviously here that if the advertisement is happening in a newspaper whose circulation is very wide circulation, right? In a leading newspaper, it's been said. So obviously it will be circulated in a vast area, right? No, it's not an invitation to offer. It's an offer. So the correct answer I'm getting, the correct answer is it's a general offer because it's done to the people at large. Anyone can avail it because it's published in a newspaper, right? So it's a general offer. So option D is correct. Now all the participants will give me their scores. Out of 10 questions which we have discussed, how much did you score today? Quickly. Okay, first I got 50, got 9 on 10. 9 out of 10. Very good. Others, calculate your scores. Okay, Sanjana 8, Rahul 9. Others, anyone scored 10 on 10 till now? Okay, Mansi 8. These questions are not tough, quite easy and basic. So hopefully we should get any person who is getting full marks. Others, count your scores and post it. Kunal 7. Fine. Others, if you are left behind, please do it now. All the participants will post their scores. So we understand that how much difficulty was today's, how much difficult the questions were, and how well they have performed. Everyone, those who are participating are more beginners, Rather than just sitting and listening, it's better to participate. So obviously we can understand that we have a clear winner, right, of the session. Both Rahul and Tripti has got 9 by 10. So obviously just one question away from the full score. So all the best to all. Congratulations to both the participants, that is Tripti and Rahul, they got the highest marks today. So very good. And others, don't worry, you're just one or two questions behind the higher scorers. So don't worry, next day try to go for full marks, that is 10 on 10. And now let's rate the session. If you like the session, give it a good rating based upon the difficulty of the questions, how the participants perform, how did you like it. So 5 is the most beneficial session, 1 is the least beneficial session, and feedback should come from all. So we understand that how the classes are going and how you are enjoying. And is it beneficial or we have to do certain things more? So let's have the rating. 5 is most beneficial and 1 is the least beneficial. So today is how many stars you want to rate it? Quickly give your feedback. Okay, Rahul is saying 4.5, nice. Others? Okay, Mohit, don't worry, we'll consider that as well. Plus, minus, I understand everything. Tripti saying 5 on 5. So we are getting quite a good rating. Harsh is 5. So nice. The sessions can be more interesting with the participation of most of you, majority. Right? So if we have a flood of comments, then we understand that okay, everyone are participating means everyone are getting the benefit of it. Right? So Harsh is saying 5 on 5, 55 because they enjoyed the session because they participated. Fine. So let's conclude today's session. Thank you for today's session. We'll be meeting very soon with another set of MCQs. Till then, keep revising at your place and obviously keep performing well.